All right, I wanted to take a couple of minutes today to talk about this latest drama between Kevin Durant and Warriors Nation, which began when my boss, Colin Cowherd, had Draymond Green on for an interview for almost an hour yesterday, which was incredibly interesting. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. It's on the Volumes YouTube channel. They get into a ton of good stuff, including some prep for this year's NBA Finals. But what ended up stealing the show was Draymond Green in a discussion centering around Steph Curry and Finals MVPs. Draymond is in kind of like a throwaway line that wasn't even really related to the point he was trying to make, said that Steph faced, quote unquote, 7 times the amount of double teams that KD faced. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to play the clip. So here's the clip of Draymond Green on the Colin Cowherd podcast yesterday.
Steph could have definitely had Finals MVPs because Steph has the ball. Like Steph is coming down the court and he's calling sets. And he's like, oh, we got a mismatch with Kevin Durant. We're going to get Kevin Durant the ball every single time. He can hijack the game and no one's going to say a word. If Steph Curry comes down and he calls for a pick and roll every play, nobody's going to say a word, including Kevin Durant, by the way. Nobody's going to say anything. That's not who he is. That's not what he does. And so when you watch a game and Kevin Durant was absolutely incredible in those finals runs. As you know, you watched it. We all watched it. Kevin Durant was absolutely insane. Steph Curry got double teamed probably 7 times the amount that KD did in a given series.
So as you guys can see, he's just talking about a coverage, but KD took it personally. He specifically on Twitter, Draymond saw KD complaining about it, and Draymond tweeted at him, "You have to learn to listen to full takes and not snippets before you get baited into tweeting, champ." And then KD quote tweeted that by saying, "Oh, I seen it, my brethren. I appreciate the compliments, but I disagree with what you said about double teams. That's all. I love the show." And then he tweeted at one point at a Golden State Warriors fan and said, "Y'all let Twitter trolls get y'all riled up and got y'all insecure. Like I said, I was the sole reason for anything. I always made it about the team. Y'all insecurities got y'all like this." So the latest beef between Kevin Durant and Warriors fans surrounding the Steph Curry thing, which once again was one of the main reasons why I think KD left to begin with, because of the amount of credit that he was given for what had happened during those couple of seasons. Now, to be clear up front, I think KD and Draymond are both right. The point that Draymond's making is simple. If you are holding it against Steph that he doesn't have a Finals MVP, then you are being dishonest, because he damn sure deserved to win it in 2015, and he played like a Finals MVP in 2017 and in 2018. The whole thing that Draymond was trying to say is Steph was every bit as good as Steph was every bit as good as KD during that era, which is true. They were 2 of the top 3 players in the world, playing at the peak of their powers. They both impacted the game at a very similar level, just in their own unique way. That's the only point Draymond was trying to make. It was about Steph and a lot of mainly LeBron fans, because again, this all stems from stan culture. The theme of this segment is stan culture and fans being obsessed with bolstering an individual player's legacy instead of paying attention to what's happening in a team sport is how we get into these debates to begin with. It's what drove Kevin Durant away from the Warriors, and it's the reason why he's dealing with this right now. And it started with LeBron fans discrediting Steph Curry for not having a Finals MVP, which was total bullshit. And Draymond was just simply making that point. Now, where KD is right is I don't think it's fair for Draymond to say that Steph faced 7 times as many double teams as KD. Because neither player, when they were crossing half court, was just getting an outright double from somebody to get the ball out of their hands. However, they ran a lot of high pick and roll with Steph and Draymond. And every team for the last half decade has guarded the Steph Draymond high pick and roll by blitzing it. And the reason why is simple, because Draymond's not as much of a scoring threat. And so your best bet to try to stop that action is to get the ball out of Steph's hands and make Draymond make a play. And yes, Steph is dragging a second defender with him, but it's a second defender that Draymond brought to him. So yes, by the book, Steph's specific role in that offense to initiate things by running high pick and roll involved him dragging multiple defenders, but it was by design in the scheme. And it worked out great for Golden State. Why? Because Draymond's one of the best short roll players in the league. Because he's one of the best passing big men ever. And Klay Thompson's every bit as important. Guys, the Warriors were 16th in offense this year, despite Steph playing in 64 games. How did that happen? Because important pieces were missing. Again, this is a team sport, guys. I thought LeBron was a top 10 player in the NBA this year, and the Lakers missed the playoffs. The Lakers missed the playoffs in a league that currently allows 20 of the 30 teams to be in the playoffs. And LeBron, as a top 10 player, could not get them into that mix. That's how much your teammates matter. And that's why stan culture is so stupid. The bottom line is KD needed the Warriors, but the Warriors also needed KD. Looking at KD first, he was playing in an archaic system with a ball hog point guard that frequently took more shots than him, on a team that lacked a lot of the offensive personnel needed to allow KD to play a free-flowing form of basketball, which has always been what he wanted to play. And so he left them to go to a team that helped him play a style of basketball that he wanted to play. And as a result, he was surrounded with the necessary talent, and he won championships. But Golden State also doesn't have 3 titles right now if KD doesn't go to them. The biggest weakness of the Steph Warriors dynasty was not having a big wing that could persistently pressure the rim or score against mismatches consistently and efficiently. When KD filled that hole, they became unbeatable. So KD absolutely was unbelievably important to Golden State in establishing the dynasty that they have, but so was Steph, and so was Draymond. And so was Klay Thompson. And so were all of the really smart role players over the years that functionally allowed the Golden State system to work because it depends on high IQs making plays off of the attention their stars gather. That's why a guy like Kelly Oubre wasn't a great fit. That's why a guy like Kent Bazemore wasn't a great fit. But again, there is no individual dynasty. I've seen LeBron, who's the second best player who's ever played the game and the best player of this era, lose often when he doesn't have the requisite pieces. There is no individual dynasty. Dynasties require greatness from a great many people. And I don't blame KD for being upset. He devoted the best years of his career, his absolute peak, he devoted them to that franchise. And all they did was tell everyone that Steph was better and kick him in the butt on his way out the door. So that's why he left, and that's why he feels the way he does now. And again, is Golden State thriving without him? Yes, but there's a lot of reasons for that. They have a lot of talent. The draft picks they were able to get from down years from injuries. Andrew Wiggins, who is one of their most important players this season, was retrieved using the KD asset. If you don't have Andrew Wiggins, you're probably not a championship contender. If you don't have Andrew Wiggins without Kevin Durant. And I'm not trying to undercut anything that Golden State has done because this is all a product of all of them and everything that they bring to the table. All I'm saying is, why do you got to treat KD like that? Like, he won you championships. Why are you kicking him when he's gone? I just don't get it. And guys, what do you think Steph thinks? The guy you're standing, the guy that you are uplifting at KD's expense, he knows that he needed KD. Just like KD knows that he needed Steph. He would never treat KD that way because he knows better, because he was on the court. And again, we've all done this. When I was younger, I used to engage in a lot of this nonsense with the LeBron stuff. But my point is the whole basketball world and the way we talk about the game will get better the sooner we get past this. The sooner we talk about how the Golden State Warriors were a perfect basketball team, constructed with an all-world offensive engine in Steph Curry, in the best tip of the spear in the league in Kevin Durant, in the best defensive player in the league in Draymond Green, in the second best shooter to ever lace them up in Klay Thompson, in one of the best perimeter defenders to ever lace them up in Andre Iguodala, in one of the best mid-range scorers to ever lace them up in Sean Livingston. We can go on and on and on. And one of the best coaches. Steve Kerr's one of the best coaches in the league. The bottom line is it's a dynasty, and dynasties are not based on individuals. Dynasties are based on a group effort. And I say that as someone who thinks Steph Curry genuinely has a case to be a top 5 player in NBA history if he wins this year. Just to me, the individual legacies, we don't need to have those discussions by trouncing all over other people that also have great individual legacies. We're just better than that. And I feel bad for KD, and I feel bad for Steph because he ends up taking on a lot of this reputation, which is really coming from his fans. And I just hope eventually we can get past all that.